pass an MRCOG exam. I'm Dr. Rakshanda Ahmed, your Part 1 MRCOG mentor and BEAT MRCOG expert. So let's start. So if you are interested in doing MRCOG, in giving MRCOG exam, then join the BEAT MRCOG group by Dr. Yasmin Sayyed. This is her YouTube channel, Beat MRCUG YouTube channel. You can see the free classes on the YouTube channel. If you are interested, then join this group where hurry up as the Ramadan is going on, so special discounts are giving. So all material will be provided, recorded classes will be there, subject wise mock will be there, exam like mock series will be there, flashcard will be there, and complete courses provided. If you are interested, then you can WhatsApp or use this number to call her or join the Telegram group, that is the Beat MRCUG by Dr. Yasmin Sayyed, for further information. So now let's start. The first question is regarding the ovarian artery, which of the following statement is true? Option A, it arises from the internal iliac artery. Option B, it arises from the external iliac artery. Option C, it arises from the uterine artery. Option D, it arises from the abdominal aorta. Option E, it arises from the renal artery. So, what is the correct answer?
It arises from the abdominal aorta. D.
Yes. So, only one artery that arises from the abdominal aorta, that is the ovarian artery. So, can you tell me from what extent the abdominal aorta starts?
Aorta T10.
It starts from T12 to L4. So it's from thoracic 12 to lumbar 4 vertebra. And it gives three branches. One is the celiac trunk, one is superior mesenteric artery, and another one is inferior mesenteric artery. So you have to remember that abdominal aorta starts from T12 to L4 and it gives three branches. One is the celiac trunk, another one is superior mesenteric, and last one is inferior mesenteric. So the correct option is answer D, and the explanation is that ovarian artery arises from the aorta and it may anastomose with the uterine artery. So I hope the answer is clear. Now moving on to the next question. The inguinal canal is reinforced posteriorly by which structure? So option A is conjoint tendon, option B is inguinal ligament, option C external oblique aponeurosis, option D internal oblique fibers, and option E lacunar ligament. So what is the correct answer?
A. Conjoint tendon.
Yes. And anteriorly it is by which muscles? What are the boundaries of inguinal canal?
Uh, superiorly inguinal ligament and
Yes,
anteriorly external oblique aponeurosis. Medially is the adductor longus
yes.
and
Anteriorly, there are two muscles, external oblique and internal oblique muscle.
yes.
And posteriorly, we have already read that is the conjoint tendon. Can you tell me what is the other name of conjoint tendon?
Mm, It is transverse abdominis aponeurosis.
No other name of conjoint tendon. You find it and tell me in the next class.
Okay.
So the conjoint tendon, that is also known as inguinal falx. So it is also known as inguinal falx, that reinforces the posterior wall of the inguinal canal. So the other name of conjoint tendon is inguinal falx. Okay. The inguinal and lacunar ligaments are the part of the floor. The aponeurosis of the external oblique is the major component of anterior wall with fibers of internal oblique that is reinforcing the lateral part. So I hope the answer is clear. Anteriorly it is formed by external oblique, laterally there is internal oblique, posteriorly there is conjoint tendon, and superiorly it is formed by the inguinal ligament. And what inguinal ligament is continuation of what muscle? Hello. Am I audible, Dr. Afroz?
Yes, ma'am.
So inguinal ligament is continuation of what muscle? We have already read.
Mm, it is external oblique.
Yes, it's an external oblique. So I hope the answer is clear. Now moving on to the next question. The bladder contraction during voiding, micturating is mediated by innervation of which of the following pathway? Option A, parasympathetic fiber from L4, L5, S1 nerve root. Option B, parasympathetic fiber from S2, SC, S4 nerve roots. Option C, parasympathetic fiber from T11, L1, L2 nerve roots. Option D, sympathetic fiber from S2, SC, S4 nerve roots. And option E, sympathetic fiber from T11, L1, L2 nerve roots. So what is the correct answer?
It is a parasympathetic fiber from L parasympathetic S2, S3, S4.
Yes. So I hope you have known about the physiology of micturition. So what is the physiology of micturition? One is the parasympathetic pathway that come from S2, S3 and S4, and another one is the sympathetic pathway that come from L2, L3 and L4. I hope you know the pathway of micturition. The S2, S3, S4 will work on which of the following muscle it will send its efferent signals to the external urethral sphincter and the detrusor muscle. It will help in the detrusor muscle contraction and external urethral sphincter, so micturition will occur. While the sympathetic fibers will send efferent fibers and will help in the detrusor muscle relaxation and external urethral sphincter contraction, so that the micturition will not occur. Okay. So how micturition occurs, I have already told you. Is the answer clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about the pudendal nerve fibers? Some pudendal nerve fibers also come on external urethral sphincter and it help in the relaxation. The parasympathetic S2, S3, S4 will help in the contraction of detrusor muscle, relaxation of urethral sphincter, and micturition will occur. And what are the types of bladder? Do you know about the types of bladder? How many types of bladder are there? One is the neurogenic bladder. Another one is the stress urinary incontinence, and another one is overflow incontinence. So I hope the answer is clear. So the correct option is option A. Detrusor contraction is by parasympathetic innervation of pelvic splanchnic nerves. This also causes relaxation of the internal urethral sphincter. Note, contraction and relaxation of the external urethral sphincter is under somatic control, so we can control the micturition. So it is under the control of somatic control. I hope the answer is clear. Now next question.
Yes.
What is the boundary between the true and false pelvis? Option A, pelvic outlet. Option B, pelvic brim. Option C, vagina. Option D, sacrospinous ligament. Option E, sacrotuberous ligament.
Pelvic brim.
Yes. So this is the diagram. There is a line horizontally running between the false pelvis and true pelvis, and this line is pelvic brim. That is also known as the pelvic inlet, and the beyond pelvic inlet is pelvic outlet. So what are the boundaries of our for pelvis? What are the boundaries of pelvic outlet? Please answer.
Pelvic outlet.
1 minute.
Pelvic outlet.
Yes, you now tell me what are the boundaries of pelvic outlet.
Anteriorly is the pubic arch, and
Yes,
posteriorly is the coccyx, and laterally is the sacrotuberous ligament.
yes. So we were on. So I hope the answer is clear. Now moving on to the next question. A patient who is 36 weeks pregnant come to see you as she had developed tingling to the right lateral thigh over the past 3 weeks. On examination, there are no skin changes and no muscle weakness. What is the likely diagnosis? Option A, obturator nerve entrapment. Option B, pudendal nerve entrapment. Option C, femoral nerve entrapment. Option D, meningeal paresthetica. And option E, shingle.
It is meralgia paresthesia.
Yes. So what happens in meningeal paresthesia? The patient will complain of tingling sensation to the right lateral thigh and weakness. Okay. And if there is femoral nerve entrapment, then what will be the clinical symptom? What will patient will present to you?
Unable to climb the stairs,
Yes.
and there is weakness on the medial side, and
And if the patient comes with pudendal nerve entrapment, then what are the symptoms?
pudendal nerve foot drop.
No, pudendal nerve is not due to foot drop. It is due to common peroneal nerve.
Yes, yes. I forgot actually.
The patient will complain of the weakness in the pelvic muscle or pain in the pelvis in pudendal
Oh,
nerve entrapment. And in obturator nerve entrapment, what will the symptom will be? Yeah, okay, so tell me where obturator nerve lies in the sign, which compartment, medial, lateral, or intermediate compartment.
medial compartment.
So it will also help, will have the similar presentation of about the femoral nerve entrapment, that is weakness on the medial side of the thigh. Okay, but there will be no tingling.
Yes.
So the correct option is option D. Raised pressure within the pelvis can cause a number of nerve entrapment syndrome. This is the entrapment of the lateral cutaneous nerve of the thigh or lateral femoral cutaneous nerve, that is also known as meningeal paresthetica. What is the risk factor? Pregnancy is a risk factor and shingles can affect this nerve, but the rash would usually present itself within 14 days. So I hope the answer is clear. Next question is, which of the following muscle is contained within the superficial perineal pouch? Option A, external sphincter muscle of urethra. Option B, deep transverse perineal muscle. Option C, compressor urethral muscle. Option D, urethrovaginal sphincter. And option E, ischiocavernosus muscle.
It is issue cavernous.
Yes. So all are the muscles of deep perineal pouch. There are two perineal pouches. One is the superficial perineal pouch and another one is deep perineal pouch. So how will you confirm that which pouch is superficial and which pouch is deep? What is the line that is there that differentiate between superficial and deep perineal pouch?
Uh, that is why.
There is some membrane name that is the perineal membrane. So if
Yes.
the if perineal membrane, if above the perineal membrane it is superficial perineal pouch, while below it is the deep. Okay, that is if above is there then it is deep perineal pouch and below it is there then it is superficial perineal pouch. And what are the contents of deep perineal pouch in males and females? Have you not read this topic, the perineal membrane topic?
Uh, no, ma'am, I read, but. Yeah.
Okay. So in deep perineal pouch in the female there will be what structure will be there in female in deep perineal pouch?
Uh, it is urethra and vagina.
Yes, and in males only urethra will be there. It
Yes.
is only
Yes.
difference is this. Okay.
Okay.
So apart from ichtiocavernosus, all the above are muscles of deep perineal pouch. Now this is the next question. Which of the following is contained within the deep perineal pouch? So option A proximal portion of urethra, option B fatty layer superficial fascia, option C ichtiocavernosus muscle, option D bulbospongiosus muscle, and option E superficial transfer perineal muscle. So the we have already discussed in the previous question. So what is the correct answer?
Proximal portion of urethra.
Yes. And what are the muscles in superficial and deep perineal pouch? What muscles are
Uh,
involved in superficial perineal pouch?
in superficial perineal pouch, ischio-cavernous,
Yes,
bulbospongiosus, and
yes. Ichtiocavernos, bulbospongiosis, and what other name you have given?
uh, bulbocavernous, bulbospongiosus, and levator ani is of deep, no?
Levator ani muscle. It is the
It is of deep.
levator ani muscle.
Okay,
And
okay,
what are the
okay.
muscle involved in the deep perineal pouch?
In deep perineal pouch, it is deep transverse perineum
Yes,
and on.
and transverse muscle of urethra.
Okay.
So the proximal portion of urethra in females or membranous urethra in male is in the deep perineal pouch. I hope the answer is clear. Now the next question is regarding the structure of detrusor muscle. Which of the following is true? Option A, the detrusor is a single layer of longitudinal smooth muscle. Option B, the detrusor is a single layer of circular smooth muscle. Option C, the detrusor is a single layer consisting of both circular and longitudinal muscle fibers. Option D, the detrusor is divided into two layers consisting of an inner longitudinal smooth muscle layer and outer circular smooth muscle layer. Option E, the detrusor is divided into three layers consisting of inner and outer layers of longitudinal smooth muscle with a middle circular smooth muscle layer. So what is the correct answer?
It is D.
Which
Inner
one?
longi- D. Inner longitudinal and outer circular.
No, it's option A. It has three
C.
layers that is consisting of inner and outer layers of longitudinal smooth muscle with a middle of circular smooth muscle layer. So in the middle there will be circular smooth muscle layer and outer and inner will be which type?
No.
It is the inner and outer longitudinal of smooth muscle. So I hope the answer is clear. The
Yes.
detrusor is divided into three layers that is consisting of inner and outer layers of longitudinal smooth muscle with a middle circular smooth muscle layer. The platter wall is divided into four layers within with the detrusor layer itself being further organized into three sublayers. These consist of two predominantly longitudinal layers that sandwich a middle predominantly circular smooth muscle layer. So there are three layers of detrusor muscle. Please remember. Now the next question is the blood testis barrier is formed by junction between which type of cell? The option is Leydig, option B germ cell, option C Sertoli cell, option D myoid cells, and option E Morgagni cells.
Um, Sertoli cell.
Yes. And what type of hormone will release Sertoli cell?
Sertoli cell release testosterone.
And what type? LH will release or FSH will release? There are two hormones.
Sir, leading cell LH receptor and
Yes.
Sertoli cell FSH receptor. Yes.
So Sertoli FSH will release Sertoli cell. Please remember this. So the explanation is option correct option is option C, and the explanation is the blood testis barrier, sometimes referred to as Sertoli cell barrier. The Sertoli cells are cells of seminiferous tubule. They have the tight junction and keep the inside of seminiferous tubule, which houses germ cells, separate from the blood and lymph. The Sertoli cell barrier is often described as dividing the seminiferous tubule into an adluminal central or luminal part of the tube and basal layer. The basal layer contains the spermatogonia and blood and lymph. The adluminal layer contains sperm cell in various stages of development. The presence of the SCB allows for control of the luminal environment. So I hope the answer is clear. Now, next question. What type of epithelium line the urinary bladder? It's a very simple question. Option A simple cuboidal, option B simple columnar, option C simple squamous, option D transitional, and option E stratified.
It is transitional epithelium.
Yes. And simple cuboidal will be in which type of which organ?
It is in renal tubules.
No, it is in thyroid.
Okay, thyroid.
And simple columnar,
Uh, Simple columnar in in cervix का internal
you can
columnar
remember gallbladder.
gallbladder. Okay.
And simple squamous, in which type will the simple squamous will be there?
Mm,
In lungs, you can remember simple squamous and stratified squamous and stratified columnar.
stratified squamous in vagina in ectocervix
Yes, and columnar,
and columnar is uh, internal that is
but it is not stratified.
yes, it is simple columnar. A stratified columnar in urethra.
No, urethra will not be stratified columnar.
No, I don't remember.
It is present in the pharynx, male
Okay.
urethra, and anus.
Okay.
And stratified cuboidal.
No, I don't know.
It is present in salivary gland.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
salivary gland. So remember this. Make a list of all this and at least learn one or two example.
Okay.
The bladder is lined by transitional cell epithelium. This is also found in the uterus and proximal urethra. Ureters and proximal urethra. So I hope that you like the class today. And are there any doubt to you in this class?
No, ma'am.
And how do you like the class?
Yes, it's good. Good for revision and all.
Okay. So how is your preparation going on? Have you done your stats now?
No, ma'am. Today I'm planning to do it. A
Okay.
mock test.
Okay, so if you are interested in joining the course, then join Beat MRCUG by Dr. Yasmin Sayyed. Hurry up, the Ramadan discounts are going on, so join the fast. Otherwise, you will miss the discount opportunity. All material will be provided, recorded classes will be there, subject wise mock will be there, and flashcard will be provided. If you are interested, then you can join our Telegram group, that is Beat MRCOG by Dr. Yasmin Sayyed, or you can contact in this number 8949149861. And if you are international student, then please dial the STD code, that is +91. So I hope you like the class. So thank you.